thank you all for attending the parade and the ceremony today. The parade's a lot of fun, but I always like to remind people why we have Memorial Day. It's to honor all the veterans who are no longer with us. And it's a nice tradition in Keego Harbor that we honor several veterans and the family of veterans who are no longer with us. I was just asked to remind some of you, a local resident, some of you might have heard, he was involved in a bicycle accident the other night on Commerce Lake Road. He passed away. There is a GoFundMe page for Robert Horvath. His family's going to need a little bit of help paying for the funeral, so if any of you look up on the GoFundMe page, the family would really appreciate it. I'm going to turn this over to Sid Rubin, a city council person and the chairperson of the parade. Sid, ceremony's all yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Kalman. I'd like to take this opportunity, and please bear with me. I had a discussion with the man upstairs yesterday, and I said, just make sure it doesn't rain. I'll do whatever you ask me to do, but just make sure it doesn't rain. And about 5 minutes ago, I called him and said, I was only kidding. Anyway, I'd like to recognize a few people who are in our audience. From the 952nd Quartermaster Company based in Livonia, appearing in an Army Humvee, an MTV, and it's a medium tactical vehicle, all of whom saw military service during deployment to Iraq. When I asked for a piece of vehicle, they said a wonderful semblance of equipment that I haven't seen since my days in the service. But anyway, I'd like to introduce some of the people. If you can hear me, apparently these vehicles have made a big hit with the kids. Staff Sergeant Fowler, just please raise your hand. Private Luna Phoenix, Specialist Little, Staff Sergeant Maureen, Sergeant Gray. Thanks to all of you for your service to our country. And by the way, say hello to General Dennis for me for letting you honor us, as well as the Canadian ambassador to the U.S., a friend of all of ours. Lyman Giroux is a citizen from Keego Harbor, served in the Army. Corporal Mike Woods, Sr., Airman First Class James Wilson, Corporal Archie Hovsepian, I knew I would mess that up, World War II, and Geoffrey Newcomb from England, who also served in our Army as a first lieutenant. There's other people, and all those that have served in the armed forces, please raise your hand. Just raise your hand. And, yeah. And also, we owe a great deal of respect for all of you. And there's also one more person who's a dear friend of mine and everybody here in Keego Harbor, a long resident of Keego, Robert Schultz. Robert, right there in front, thank you very, very, very much for your service to our country. There's other people I'd like to introduce, members of our city council. First, our Mayor Pro Tem, John Newberry, who's the co-chairman. John, there you are. Without him, this thing could never have come off. And John, thank you very much, you and Jennifer. Other members of our city council, Joel Yoder, Mayor Yoder, where are you? There you are, right there in a blue shirt. Raise your hand, Joel. Thank you very much. Tom Berman. Tom is right here, right over there. Tom Berman. And I got to tell you about our city council. We get along so well. We are the poster children for what government should look like for small communities our size. And Gordy Dilber. Gordy is the stepfather. There you are. Gordy, raise your hand right there. Gordy is the stepfather and has provided all of the flags that you see all around our park in memory of his stepson who was assassinated in Iraq. After being a prisoner, They found him 9 months later, I think. And we certainly appreciate you honoring his memory. Yeah. And by the way, just raise your hand if you've been in the service, because we have a momentum for you. Just raise your hand and see Jennifer Newberry right there, and she's going to give you a little momentum. I also want to introduce Bruce McIntyre. Bruce is the gentleman right there in the uniform, and it's amazing how someone can still get in their uniform after all these years. He is the decorated hero, and also he is a member of the former mayor of Orchard Lake and a member of the Orchard Lake City Council. Okay. Another individual I'd like to introduce. He really needs no introduction. If you stay up late at night or sometime on the 6 o'clock news, Woody Woodruff. Woody, stop hiding, Woody. He's at the ice cream counter. Woody Woodruff, you've seen him on television. Woody? I need you to say a few words, Woody.
I'm trying to enjoy a dilly bar from Dairy Queen. Come on, Sid. I just want to say that. Come on, John. I just want to say thank you to everybody for coming out. I mean, this is a thing that is really driven by volunteerism, and it's nice to see that everybody cares enough to come on out and give something back, including myself, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So there you go, right? Thank you for coming out. I'm just happy to be a part of what happens here in our community of Keego Harbor.
Thanks, Woody. And I don't know if Ronnie is here. Woody?
Huh?
Is Ronnie here?
Oh, my.
Yeah.
No, my wife, Ronnie Dahl from Channel 7, is not here today. She's working. She's chasing down some bad guys, so look for her on whatever channel that is.
Yeah. I'll tell you, to know these two people, I mean, that's a pleasure. They live right here in Keego Harbor. They never say no to anything we ask. And Ronnie Dahl, she's not here. He's working. One of them has to work. But I can tell you, Ronnie is the woman that walks around saying, I heard you, you better listen to me, and starts pointing fingers at everybody, all these criminals all around the city. So we're very fortunate. So Ronnie, Eric Gupka, along with Woody Woodruff, they're the ones that narrated the parade from the bandstand in front of the Roosevelt stand. And we thank you both. Another individual who many of you may know, many of you may not know, but he was a former kicker for the Detroit Lion, Eddie Murray. He also won his Super Bowl ring with the Dallas Cowboy, and I'm proud to say he's my family. So Eddie, where are you, Eddie? Right there. Another, well, we had a football, but we threw it. It was a deflated football. Thanks.
Welcome. Thanks.
And also all the volunteers that put this parade on, our supporters, they're all listed on the back page of the program. The West Bloomfield High School Band, the West Bloomfield Honor Guard that will soon raise the flag. And I'd like to introduce another member of our team, my wife, Marilyn, right over there. Some people say she can beat me easily running for office here in Keego, but you don't have to agree, Woody.
I'd vote for her.
Yeah, I know that. Anyway, and then Jennifer Newberry, the co-chairperson. Jennifer is somewhere running around here. But I'll tell you, we have so many people. The Keego Harbor Police Department, who've done a super job, as well as the West Bloomfield Police Department, everybody has come together to put this parade on. And at this point, I would like to begin our service. If I could have your attention, please. We're going to have we're going to have the West Bloomfield Firefighters Honor Guard and taps being played by a young man named Jared Grims. He goes to the West Bloomfield High School. He's a student. He's also a member of the band. I heard earlier that the speaker in the back was not working.
Fine. How are you?
Just sing right after.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Thank you. Thank you for coming. You have to back up.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Nicole. I have to tell you, I met Nicole when she was a little girl, and then she moved away. She moved to New York, where she became a big hit on Broadway, met her husband, who was on Broadway. They returned to their summer home here in Keego Harbor, and we are so honored to have her with us. And you'll hear more from Nicole at the end of our program. So at this time, I would like to introduce to you our Oakland County Commissioner, John Scott. His wife Mary is in the audience. Jane. That's the other wife. Jane. Ooh. Ooh. Anyway, John Scott's done a lot for our community. He's responsible for helping us through his association with the county, restructure a lot of debt, make a lot of changes, really stabilize our city. And for that, we're very grateful to John. And John, he has some presentations that he is going to help make with the mayor and myself. So John.
Thank you, Sid, and Mr. Mayor. Where's Rob? We're going to need him to do these, but I just want to say a couple words. You know, it is Memorial Day, and everybody forgets that. Since they turned it into a 3-day weekend holiday instead of the one it used to be on May 30th, and so now it's become a holiday of barbecues and opening your cottage and leaving. But I think we should all remember that all gave some, but some gave their all. And those are the folks we're here to honor today, those that gave their all. Us veterans that are standing here and going to be honored in a minute, we have our day. It's November 11th, when we'll all be back out at Great Lakes National Cemetery for a great event again, and it's colder, but we'll be there. So, Mr. Mayor, we have some presentations to make.
Thank you, guys. The first individual that I would like to honor on behalf of our city is a gentleman named Ralph Clifford Seagraves. Ralph, like many residents of Keego Harbor, was a veteran of the Korean War. Upon his honorable discharge, he joined the Army Reserves and was stationed in Fort Belvoir, Virginia. He earned several medals, including the National Defense Service Medal. Ralph moved to Keego Harbor, and sadly, Ralph passed away. His wife, Brenda, still lives here. And in honor of Ralph and his service to the community as well as to the armed forces, here to accept his award and recognition for his service is his wife. Come on up, please.
Step out where?
You're good. Keep right front.
Go ahead, guys.
Don't aim it straight at me. There you go. There you go. Look up, Sid.
Thank you, Brenda. The next individual that we would like to honor is Philip White. Philip was a World War II veteran. He skipped his senior year in high school to enlist in the United States Marines. He obviously felt that protecting his country was more important than going to the prom in his senior year. He fought in the Battle of Iwo Jima, one of the deadliest battles of World War II. He also served throughout the Pacific area, as well as the occupation of Japan. His wife told me, as well as his family, that over the years he's refused to be recognized for his service to his country, and he declines to dwell on how bad it really was. A little bit of history. The American amphibious invasion of Iwo Jima during World War II stemmed from the need for the United States to base near the Japanese coast, an established area. Following elaborate preparatory air and naval bombardment, 3 United States Marine divisions landed on the island in February of 1945. Iwo Jima defended by roughly 23,000 Japanese Army and Navy troops who fought from an elaborate network of caves, dugouts, tunnels, underground installations. Despite the difficulty and the conditions, the Marines wiped out the defending forces after 1 month of fighting, and the battle earned a place in American lore with the publication of a photograph showing the United States flag being raised in victory. Of the 3,400 Americans that came ashore with the 28th Regiment, only 600 were left standing. He was discharged as a corporal returning to his hometown of Bryan, Ohio, and shortly thereafter he and his wife Wilma, a former school teacher in the Birmingham school system, found their way to Michigan through his railroad connections. And both are here today. So could you come up and be recognized? And let's give him a big hand. As he walks up here, I have to tell you, we are honored that you allowed us to honor you. Slow down. Thank you very much, and thank you to your family. Our next honoree is an individual named Jim Van Blarkum. Jim graduated from the University of Syracuse, where he was commissioned in the ROTC program. The Air Force ROTC program, for some who don't understand it or weren't as familiar as many of us were years ago, is a college program offered at more than 1,100 campuses today all across the country. And what it does is it prepares young men and women to become leaders in the Air Force, but it's also much more. You acquire a strong leadership skill that will benefit you as an Air Force officer. It's also a great opportunity to pay for school through scholarships. It helped Jim develop lifelong friendships and have unique experiences. Jim had a position waiting for him upon his graduation at one of the world's top high-tech organizations. It was called the U.S. Air Force. He took his pilot training in Laredo, Texas, and was commissioned a captain in the United States Air Force. He flew hundreds of missions over North Vietnam during the years 68, 69, and 70. Later, he became chief pilot for 25 years for Collins and Aikman, one of the largest real estate corporations in this country. So, Jim, please come forward.
Bill can get bossy.
Yeah, I can.
Thank you very much. By the way, if you're still flying, I'm leaving town Tuesday. Oh, never mind. The next honoree is Major Charles Perlman. Major Charles Perlman was a son, a brother, a husband, a philanthropist, and an individual who has done so much for so many people and has kept it to himself in the course of doing what he thought was best to help families, people, individuals, and put a lot of kids through law school. Major Perlman was the company commander who served in the 5th Armored Division. The 5th Armored Division's record of achievement is unsurpassed. And known as the Victory Division, they were the first to enter Germany, breaching the Siegfried Line. He served in the roughest, most bitter missions ever undertaken at the time, removing mines and filled shell craters under artillery fire to keep the roads open. He worked on many projects across the Rhine River. Then Captain Pearl and his company built a vital treadway bridge over the Ems Canal in record time. While at the city of Marseille, he participated in the pursuit of fleeing German forces. He was part of a patrol that arrived at a bridge just as it was about to be blown up. He managed to lead his men and force back the Germans before they could demolish a vital railroad system and bridge. It was there that Captain Perlman and his engineers removed 2 truckloads of explosives under enemy fire, saving many, many lives. He helped lay planking across the tracks so that the American forces could continue on in its smashing drive to the border, which led to the end of the war. For his gallantry in action, Captain Perlman was promoted to major and was awarded 2 prestige honors, the Bronze and Silver. Captain Perlman was not able to be here with us today, but to quote the words of his longtime friend, Kathleen, our generation has freedom, the opportunity, and the privilege to love, honor, and serve the greatest generation. Please come up and accept our token of appreciation. Kathleen, there you are. The next individual that we would like to honor is a member of our community, and it gives me a great honor and pleasure to introduce our next honoree. At the age of 12, he served as a volunteer air raid messenger in our nation's capital as part of the Civil Defense Corps. And I'll get into that later to tell you how important that Civil Defense Corps was during World War II. At the time, he lived 6 blocks from the White House. Some of his duties were to patrol the sector of the city along with air raid wardens. The area included the White House, the nation's capital, and the Lincoln Memorial. Air raid wardens were organized non-military civilian whose job it was to prepare Americans for military attack. Today it's called the Emergency Management and Homeland Security personnel. They were all volunteers who were proud to become the watch people of all communities throughout the country. Perhaps this is when Walter started to see the importance of his service, not only to his country, but to his community. More about his service to his community later. At the age of 18, Walter joined the United States Navy, stationed in Washington, D.C. He was assigned to the Potomac River Naval Command. He was assigned to the USS Drum, a World War II submarine. Because of its accomplishments, the USS Drum is now a National Historic Landmark and is docked in Mobile, Alabama, next to the famed battleship, the USS Alabama. Walter also served on the USS Cutlass, the USS Sea Leopard, and the USS Pompon, protecting the United States from missile attacks during the Cold War period, and received the Navy's coveted Dolphin Award. A lot of people say, well, why do you keep mentioning all the places that some of these service people were and stationed on what ships and what have you? A few years ago, we honored somebody who we mentioned where he was, what battalion, what company, and all of a sudden we heard a scream in the audience. He hadn't seen that person in 52 years. So somehow, I think if there's a connection, it doesn't beat Facebook, but you never know. World War II, which the United States entered after the attack of Pearl Harbor, was cauterized by a significant use of civilian defense people like Walter. Very soon, however, the idea of local and state councils bearing a significant burden became viewed as a way to offer more responsibility and was vested at the federal level with the creation of the Office of Civil Defense. Mr. Sands, like others, were charged with promoting protective measures and elevating national morale. Mr. Sands and his wife, Rosemarie, have been longtime residents of Keego Harbor. He served for many years on Keego Harbor's Zoning Board of Appeals, the Carillon Committee, and was most instrumental in the formation of the Tax Increment Finance Authority for the City of Keego Harbor. Walter holds the most important non-elected Keego Harbor position that any resident in Keego Harbor can hold. And I say that with a lot of respect. It's called the Valued Resident Vocal Input Committee Award, which sometimes consists of just one person. Notice I did say valued. His business, labor, and organizational skills have been vital in helping to build a more robust community. Walter has seen many changes within our community and recognizes that Keego Harbor is a giant community and that we're all connected. There is a saying among elected officials in Keego Harbor: if you deserve Walter Sands' vote, he'll let you know and you'll be honored to accept it. So, Walter, I extend my deepest gratitude to you and our armed forces and first responders serving both at home and abroad in the war against terrorism. Walter, please come up.
That was pretty good.
That's the way you wrote it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
You know, she's called you Daddy. She must want something.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Walter.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Walter, you didn't take my program by any chance. No, I'm only kidding. No, I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. Well, anyway, I have some closing remarks because I think the man upstairs is a little furious with me when I told him I was only kidding, so I better hurry up fast. And I'll make up to it for him. So what I'd like to do right now is just in our closing remarks, this event demonstrates how much our community cares about the longtime tradition of honoring veterans. Terrorism has once again shown it is prepared to stop at nothing in creating human havoc. As never before, it's vital to unite forces, including citizens, communities of the entire world, against terror. One of my favorite singers, next to Nicole, is Lee Greenwood, who said it best. I promise not to sing it, but I know you know the words. But the words go like this, and I'm proud to be an American where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men and women who died and who gave that right to me. So please join Nicole in singing God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Anyway, this concludes our ceremony today. Thank you all for coming, and thank you for holding back on us. Appreciate it. Drive safely, and hope we see you all back next year.